My name is Susan Rowley. I'm running for Justice of the Peace Precinct 2. I know my attire's a little unorthodox for speaking, but I'm taking my most important thing to baseball draft right after we get done here. Citywide baseball draft. That's my life right here. And I'm a practicing attorney. I've been a practicing attorney for 14 years, and I've worked on both sides of the aisle, so that gives me a really unique perspective for the justice courts, because it gives me the impartiality that most judges really don't have unless they've worked on both sides. I was a city prosecutor in Amarillo, where I handled tickets and Class C things like the same level as the justice courts here, and I was one of the assistant district attorneys here in Lubbock, where I was in charge of all the justice courts, as well as a county court at law. And now I'm a defense attorney, and I've been a defense attorney for the last 10 years. And I love working in the law. Law school was one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. It helped me really develop just a love and a passion for law. I help adult clients, juvenile clients, indigent, special needs clients, and this is just, I feel that it's my time to go back in and serve the community again, and that's why I want to run for Justice of the Peace. The cases for the Justice of the Peace are the same level that I've been doing my whole career. I know them inside and out, and like I said, I think I'm going to be the most impartial candidate. I'm from Lubbock. I grew up in Lubbock. I love Lubbock, and I love our community, and I really, really just want to serve the community and give the chance to let my integrity, my honesty, and my impartiality work for Lubbock County as your Justice of the Peace. Again, I'm Susan Rowley, and I don't know how many of you have yet to vote, but if you haven't, I'd appreciate your vote, or spread it around. I'm running for Justice of the Peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well, my name is Rex Andrew, and I am running for Justice of the Peace Precinct 1. I'm not running as Susan. I'm actually running for the position that Judge Hanson is currently serving in. And I'm somewhat unusual for a challenger in that I have previously served in the position that I am running for. I'm a former Justice of the Peace. I served as a court clerk and then Justice of the Peace in Taylor County, which is the Abilene area, back in the 90s. So I have experience not only as a JP, but as the clerk. I know how the office runs, or should be run. From day one, I'll be ready to run the office, because I have worked not only as a court clerk, but as the Justice of the Peace also in a different county. But in addition to that experience, I have experience in several other fields. And let me back up just a second. Some of you may know me from being on the radio, and that's where I've spent most of my adult years. But when I was younger, I was interested in a number of things. And one of the things I worked in was, one of the fields I worked in was law enforcement. I was a police officer, which was good experience that I could rely on later on when I was a Justice of the Peace, because obviously police officers enforce the laws. When I was a young Republican, and this was back in the 70s when it wasn't all that popular in Texas to be a young Republican, I was very interested in politics, and my first job out of school was actually working where laws are made at the Capitol in Austin. I also, one summer, worked as an intern in Washington. So the point of all this is that I've been involved in the law from several different perspectives. As one who enforced the law, I've worked where laws are made at the Capitols in Austin and in Washington, and ultimately I served as a court clerk and a Justice of the Peace. Contrary to what was written in the AJ, I have specific goals, campaign goals. The article listed my goals and then said I had no goals. Anyway, the goals that I have in the campaign are, first of all, to be able to run an efficient, fair court from the day that I take the oath of office. Secondly, I have a policy where I do not accept campaign contributions from lawyers. This is how I look at it. How would you feel if you went into court only to find that the person who is suing you, or the person you are suing, has hired an attorney who has contributed to the judge? It won't happen in my court, because I don't accept campaign contributions from attorneys or anyone in their household. Third, I'm going to save money. I will not accept the pay raise that my opponent has accepted. That will save $25,000 over a 4-year term. I appreciate very much the opportunity to speak before you, and appreciate your vote if you have not already voted. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Jim Hanson. I'm a judge that's been running a fair and efficient court for you for the last 20 years. My precinct is the southwest quadrant of Lubbock. It's out in the Wolford quadrant of Lubbock. I've been in the public eye here in Lubbock since I was about your age, since I was 21. I'm now 54. I spent 13 years as an investigative reporter, primarily at Channel 11 during the decade of the 80s. I was very high profile, won about 30 awards. The opportunity to run for Justice of the Peace presented itself in 1990. I defeated 2 opponents in the primary, and I've won easily ever since. During that time, I've handled more than 100,000 criminal and civil cases. My appeal rate, which I believe is a good indicator of the job the judge is doing, is .0028. If you factor out the perfunctory appeals, my appeal rate is .0009. I'm a technology person. I was the state director of technology for the Justice Court Judges Association for Texas for 6 years. In Lubbock, I've developed dozens of technologies to save the clerk's time and the judge's time and the public time. I invite you to visit my website. It translates into 8 languages. It's been described as the best in Texas, and it's been imitated and actually copied by a number of counties, including Collin County near Dallas, which is much larger than Lubbock. I've been the after-hours person for 20 years. In my first 3 years, when we did death investigations, I did over 1,200. That was more than any judge in Texas. We no longer do the death investigations. As you've probably heard, we have a medical examiner now, but we still have things like juvenile warnings, felony filings that take place in the middle of the night. Some of the high-profile cases you may have heard of recently was the young man arrested for the sexual assault of an 87-year-old woman. He was described as a suspect in the Twilight rapist cases. Also, the shooting that took place of a young man at a Walmart where they bumped into Taco Bell. These are cases you hear about in the press, but what you don't know is I'm the guy that's called out in the middle of the night to go up and review and file the felony case, review it for probable cause, and issue the arrest warrant. Sometimes that results in turning around and going back to file more cases as more suspects turn over. In 20 years, I've never had an ethics violation. I have a spotless record, both in Lubbock and statewide. I've been endorsed in this race by every media group or individual who has endorsed. I've been a teacher and a mentor to hundreds of judges and clerks. My office manager, Norma's here, and she can attest that not a day goes by that I don't get phone calls or emails from judges or clerks somewhere in Texas with a question, and I'm the one they turn to. I was the 2007 Texas Judge of the Year, and I'm out of time, so I'll save my other remarks for later. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Judge Hanson. First thing I want to do is thank Chris and the Young Republicans for hosting this. It's very exciting to me to see the younger generation be involved in politics. Years ago, we used to talk about how the children are our future and we need to protect them, and now the children are my future. You need to protect me as I and Judge Hanson and some others progress into our senior years. But nonetheless, I'm the Justice of the Peace of Precinct 2. That's the southeast quarter of the county. I've been serving Lubbock County as Justice of the Peace. I'm in my 12th year. I started my professional career in Precinct 2 in 1967 as a state trooper and had a long and honorable stretch of service with the Department of Public Safety. Retired from that to prepare to run for political office, and like I said, I'm in my 12th year. I'm very dedicated to the people of Lubbock County, and in particular Precinct 2. My court handled over 7,000 cases in 2008. 5,100 of those were criminal cases. The balance were property hearings and civil cases that we handled. I have a very, very low rate of appeal cases out of my court. I've heard the comment that my appeal cases were pretty high, so I simply went to the computer service and pulled out, and I had 10 cases appealed from October of 08 to October of 09. 6 of those were alcohol violations. One was seatbelt, one was a commercial vehicle that was over width, and one was for speeding. But anyway, our courts are very busy. As Judge Hanson has stated, we handle criminal cases from the Highway Patrol, the Lubbock Sheriff's deputies, the Parks and Wildlife Rangers, the State Alcohol Commission, the Department of Public Safety, commercial vehicle inspectors. and I'm out of time, and I appreciate your vote if you haven't voted.